it is time to embrace the dark side. And what better way to do it than with somebody with a very dark mind? Mr. Edgar Allan Poe. I have read Edgar Allan Poe before, and I actually participated in Edgar Allan Poe boot camp, which I failed. Because it turns out if you read Edgar Allan Poe back to back, it is not as great anymore. But there are some stories in here that I really enjoy, and then there are some that are extremely weird. In this vlog I would like to read Willie Wilson. That is one of the scariest stories that I haven't read by him yet. So I'm excited about it. I would not have guessed that that was a scary story, but it is in the scary story list. And then I would also like to read some Edgar Allan Poe retellings. I enjoy retellings from gothic horror classics so much. So I expected to be no different with Edgar Allan Poe. I have a lot of books on this list. I have been, wanting to do this vlog for a while. So what happens then is that I accumulate books for said vlog. Don't get around to, and I keep accumulating books. So I don't think I get to all to these books, but I wanted to talk to you about all of them. I have the Misadventures of Edgar and Allan Poe. That is a series. The book 1 title is The Telltale Start. This book is by Gordon McAlpine, and it looks like this is about Edgar and Allan Poe. They're twins, and their parents died. And now they are in danger. And it might be connected. I am excited. It sounds cute. I also have the Raven remix by Carolee Dean. This is a remix of a lot of Poe stories and poems, and it is all written in verse. So that's going to be very interesting. I don't think I've read anything like it before. And then there are a couple of audiobooks I would like to get to. On Audible I have The Poe Estate by Polly Shulman. This is technically the second book in the series, but they're so differently themed that I don't think it matters. We will find out. But this is a mind-bending, rousing adventure celebrating classic ghost and horror stories by the author of Grim Legacy and The Wells Bequest. Sookie's been lonely since the death of her big sister, Kitty, but Kitty's ghost is still with her. At first, that was comforting, but now Kitty's terrifying anyone who gets too close. Things get even weirder when Sookie moves into her family's ancestral home. And an older, less familiar ghost challenges her to find a treasure. Her classmate Cole is also experiencing apparitions. Fortunately, an antique broom's at hand to fly Sookie and Cole to the New York Circulating Material Repository. Spooky Poe Annex. Whatever that means. As they search for clues and untangle ancient secrets, they discover their histories intertwine and are full of stories of love, revenge, and pirate hijinks as some of the most famous fiction. It sounds great. I have been curious about this one for a while. And then on Storytel, the service I usually use is The Poe Shadow by Matthew Pearl. This is about Baltimore 1849. The body of Edgar Allan Poe has been buried in an unmarked grave. Everyone seems to accept the conclusion that Poe was second-rate writer who met a disgraceful end, except for a young Baltimore lawyer named Quentin Clark, an ardent admirer who puts his own career and reputation at risk in a crusade to salvage Poe's. As Quentin explores the puzzling circumstances and unanswered questions of Poe's demise, he realizes that he must find the one person who can help. The real-life model for Poe's brilliant fictional detective character, C. Augustus Dupin, the hero of ingenious tales of crime and detection. It sounds really good, so I would like to give that a go. And then also I found Edgar Allan Poe and the London Monster, which the title alone is like, yes, let's go. This is by Karen Lee Street. And this is also set in 1840. Edgar Allan Poe arrives in London to meet his friend C. Augustus Dupin, in the hope that the great detective will help him solve a family mystery. For Poe has inherited a mahogany box containing sheets of leather that implicates his grandparents in some of London's most heinous crimes. Very, very curious about these. So we have some middle grade, we have some murder mysteries. Let's go. I'm sorry. I just finished the Telltale Start and I didn't even get the time to update you. I am sorry. But this was a one-night read, basically. It has 177 pages, but it reads so fast. It's a middle grade. It has big font. It has illustration in it, and it was super duper cute. So yeah, it hooked me in, guys. Can't tell you what else. This is indeed about Edgar Allan Poe and an identical twin, but they take it a bit further. They have each other's thoughts. It's not just they know what the other's thinking, they share their thoughts. And that is interesting for a not so ethical scientist. And there are theories involved, and the scientist decides to kidnap their cat, Broderick Usher, to try and kidnap the siblings. It's really cute. They're very naughty. Not specifically naughty, but they're they do practical jokes that they have a very dark sense of humor. And they have a very high value of what's good and wrong, but they take it to the extreme. Like, there was this instance where, they get bullied by bigger boys. And they were fine, and they were like, yeah, I'm not even gonna tell my, the ones that are raising them now, because there's nothing they can do about it, and they're just gonna be anxious. But then they heard that the bullies were planning something big on Halloween, even worse than normal. Basically ruining Halloween for all the other kids. And they were like, not gonna happen. We're gonna show themselves and everybody else how cowards they actually are. So what they did is they made a haunted house full of real animal intestines. Completely messed the boys up, and then let the other kids watch how the bullies got messed up. And I was like, yeah, I can see that it's extreme, but also good for them. Nobody has been bullied ever since. Like, they take it to the extreme, and it is just really funny. There is a lot of reference to Edgar Allan Poe and his poems and his short stories, but it's done in a very authentic and funny way. I would highly recommend this retelling. I also accidentally ended up Annabel Lee by Edgar Allan Poe. I did not intend to, but it kind of happened in a book for a different vlog. And I really enjoyed it. It is not my favorite, but it's definitely not his worst. And I do think this is one of the darker ones, because this is about Annabel Lee that he loves dearly, and she dies of a cold. The only problem I don't want to say I loved it is that I have concerns about Annabel Lee being a child, and I'm not sure if he was still a child. But other than that, it was really good. And I just don't know if they both were children, or this is an adult man talking about a child and loving it. So that would be even darker if that was the case. But then I don't like it, obviously. So I don't know yet. But it was definitely one of his better works. And now it is up for the next one. I think I'm gonna put the Poe Estate on as an audiobook so I can crochet a bit. Or not. I'm not sure. I will let you know what I've done, and hopefully before I finish the book again. Hello darkness, my old friend. Here we are again. Because I did finish 2 Poe short stories. First up, I finished William Wilson, which was actually quite intriguing. There was one scary moment in there too. And like always, Poe does make me feel dumb when I'm reading it. But I think I got most of the message out of this. So I gave it 3 stars. Then I also decided to read Morella. And I liked it. It was dark. So was William Wilson. So that, you know, always helps. I'm not sure if I get the message of this fully. But it was very dark vibes. I really enjoyed it. The only problem I have with the short stories or poems that he mentioned love in, that it could be written to or for his 13-year-old niece he married. And I can't let go of the whole family connection situation because they didn't know better. And I'm sure when people look 200 years ahead of now, that they think like, why are they stupid people doing stuff like this when it's not good for you? You know, stuff that we are doing now. They didn't know it was unhealthy until they had to stop because people were dying out of it. But I find it hard to put the 13-year-old away. Like I know that was the norm then, but it is very hard for me to read something knowing that it could be about a 13-year-old. So therefore I feel really bad saying that I enjoyed it or something like that. But if this was written about an adult woman, I would have enjoyed it. If that makes sense. So Morella also got 3 stars. And then let me check how far in. I don't know. It only tells me how much I have left. I have 2 hours and 40 minutes left of the Poe Estate by Polly Shulman. And I'm really enjoying this one. This is about a girl who has to move to her aunt's house. And everybody in the neighborhood calls it the creepy haunted house. With the creepy old lady. That is her aunt. Obviously she isn't enjoying it, but it just has to be done because of the financial situation of the parents. And she actually starts getting a real good bond with her aunt. And there is a lot of family historical lore that I really enjoy. And there is some magic involved, which is always a good thing. So I'm really enjoying this. And we already seen some of her family history linking to famous authors of the time of Poe. So I feel like the Poe Estate is going to be that house. It's going to turn out that it is that house. Yeah. Very excited to continue this. Might finish it tonight with only under 3 hours left. We will see. There's a lot I need to do today, but I will try. Because after that I still want to read the Raven remix, but I want to be done with this vlog before the weekend because I'm filming another one in that one. That's it. That is the plan. We'll see if we can make it. I hope so. Hello. Welcome. Hello! It's the next morning. And I'm so happy to report that I did it! I finished both the books. I think this is the first time that I actually was able to read all the physical books in the vlog that I wanted to read in the time frame. So happy about that. The first book I finished was The Poe Estate by Polly Shulman. Absolutely loved it. I'm going to give it 5 stars. If you like book about books, something like Tilly the Book Wanderer by Anna James. But you wanted a bit more focused on the darker books, on the horror books, specifically gothic horror, classic books. This is the book for you. The Poe Estate was great. It is a book about book. It's a book about love for writers and for reading, love for the horror genre particularly. It's magical. It was so good. Highly recommend this book to anyone. This is technically the second book in a series. However, I had a feeling there were more companion novels, and I think that is the case. I have not been spoiled for anything in the first book. I still don't know what it is about. And I could understand everything perfectly. There wasn't a moment that I was thinking like, ooh, I'm missing information here. So I think those are definitely more on companion novels. And oh boy, was it a joy to read. I love it. Oh. And then I've read the Raven remix by Carolee Dean. This is specifically written for teachers and children that have dyslexia. And it is written for a certain program that helps developing language skills for kids with dyslexia. Therefore, it is dyslexia-friendly print. And it's, you know, she talks about this program and how it is integrated. And then you get a poem that is written in the style of the Raven, and it has multiple elements from Edgar Allan Poe stories in there. And then you get a synopsis of all the stories that were included. They talk a bit about Poe's life and his, the weird circumstances about his dad, that we still really don't know how he died. So it was very interesting. But it wasn't a new story per se. There is a new poem and it was cute. But I liked the whole things around the poem more than the poem itself. So I'm going to give it 3 stars. And that's it. That were all the books for Edgar Allan Poe. I obviously didn't get to all my audiobooks, but it's fine. I'm very glad that I could get to all the books on my physical TBR. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe if you want to see more spooky tales from me. And I will see you in the next one. Foolish mortal.